Welcome to episode 8 of Upgrade My PC Please. On last week's episode we had 5 old Intel Core i7 based systems in need of various upgrades, and you the viewers voted Hal's PC the most worthy of receiving the proposed upgrade package. So coming Hal's way we have a Ryzen 5 1600 processor, a Gigabyte B350 motherboard and 16GB of DDR4 3000 memory, and that will all be coming from PC Case Gear. Thanks to those guys for supporting the series and offering free shipping. Before we get into the next 5 PCs, just a quick note to the viewers, do not forget to vote, comment and do all that stuff each week, as it will put you in the running to win some cool prizes, and they are global giveaways, so anyone can enter. Last week's winner took home a very cool AOC gaming monitor, and this week's winner will be announced at the end of the video. We have a pretty cool prize in store for them. Alright then, so it's time to check out a random bunch of PCs for this week. This little gaming box was built by Andrew back in 2014 during Black Friday. He was after a compact and portable rig that he could take to medical school when he was away from home. The system was initially built without a graphics card, but he managed to score an old GeForce GTX 460 from a friend who'd upgraded to something more substantial. The PC is used mostly as a workstation, but Andrew also enjoys playing the odd games such as Minecraft, Medieval 2 Total War and Civilization 3. Andrew's brother also recently gave him a copy of The Witcher 3, but doesn't really play that well on the system, and he would also like to try out some new titles as well, when he's not working of course. In order for Andrew to enjoy more modern games, I suggest we go about things a little differently to the norm. Rather than just ditch the Haswell platform, let's replace the dual-core Core i3 CPU with a Core i7 4790. It is a costly upgrade, but really there's no better option as going Ryzen or an 8th gen CPU from Intel. That would really see us ditch the motherboard and all that memory. This also leaves us with enough money left over to grab a GeForce GTX 1050 Ti graphics card. For 1080p gaming, this will have Andrew well covered, should he win, and he can finally enjoy The Witcher 3. Next up we have Snow. That's it, just Snow. And you probably guessed it, Snow features the cute little Thermaltake Core V1 Snow Edition Mini ITX case. Owner Ethan started piecing the system together late last year after selling his old Athlon X4 860K build to a friend. He then bought the Core i7 6100 motherboard and memory from another friend. Alright Ethan, we get it. You have lots of friends. Stop making the rest of us feel bad. Anyway, where was I? After scoring the core components, he then took to eBay and picked up pretty much everything else. The idea was to build a compact system to save space on his desk. The PC is used to game as well as do a bit of photo and video editing. Right now, Ethan is mostly playing Fallout 4, Overwatch and StarCraft 2. Finally, a fellow SC2 player. It has to be said that right now Ethan has a pretty decent 1080p gaming rig, but the Core i3 6100 processor is probably going to start aging pretty quickly now. Since he does have some DDR4 memory, actually quite a bit of DDR4 memory, let's just ditch the CPU and motherboard in favour of the Ryzen 5 1600 and the ASRock AB350 Gaming ITX AC. Then because we can, and also because Ethan is suffering due to a lack of capacity, let's update the primary boot drive to the Crucial MX300 525GB SSD. There'll be no need to shift around installed games now. Moving on from Core i3s, we have a coffee pot. Not a coffee lake, there is quite a big difference. Evan built this PC at the start of 2014 and has since made multiple upgrades. He's added some case fans, he's doubled the memory capacity from 8GB to 16GB, and he's upgraded the box cooler to the Noctua NHL12. The PC is now being handed over to his girlfriend to replace her aging laptop, which is on the way out. So if Evan wins the upgrade package, it will be going to his girlfriend so she can game to her heart's content, and Evan says she deserves it. I can feel the love. Now, I'm told she does like to play a broad range of games, but right now the system just stutters really badly, and even games that aren't quite that old, but a little bit demanding, games such as like Assassin's Creed and Bioshock Infinite, though. Bioshock's getting quite old now. Anyway, so we have to get this thing up to speed. The good news is there are a few decent components already in the system. The Cooler Master HAF 912 case is quite good, and that Corsair CX Series 600 watt power supply will get the job done. That said though, the CPU, motherboard and memory, they're not the best, and probably the graphics card as well will need to be replaced. Since the Coffee Lake CPUs are either out of stock or grossly overpriced right now, let's go Ryzen. Plus the Ryzen 5 1400 at $150 US right now is just a superstar. Let's slot that onto the ASRock AB350M motherboard with 8GB of DDR4 memory. Finally, capping it off, I think the GeForce GTX 1063GB will be the way to go, and that handles 1080p gaming with ease. Overall, if Evan wins, his girlfriend will be really able to play games to her heart's content. Okay, so what we have here is a pre-built from Australian computer store CPL. William isn't the original owner of the system. He picked it up from his cousin about 2 years ago, who got it from a friend. He suspects it was purchased as a business type PC. Anyway, William ditched the GeForce 9600 GT that came in it and replaced it with a second-hand GTX 650 Ti boost. And while he was at it, he threw in a 120GB OCZ SSD. I'm pretty impressed the OCZ SSD still works, actually. I've had a lot of those die. He also upgraded the three 2GB DDR3 memory sticks, totaling 6GB, to a single 8GB stick, which I have to say was probably a bit of a mistake, as the Core i7 920 processor benefits from triple channel memory operation. The system is mostly used for CAD work, and William is an architect student, so he does do a lot of rendering, and he says a single image can take hours to complete on this system. Since rendering is the priority here, let's again go with the Ryzen 5 1600, and I recommend William overclocks this thing as far as he can on the ASRock AB350 Pro 4. Helping out with that, let's throw in the CryoRig M9A. The motherboard does offer 4 DIMM slots, so he can expand the 8GB memory capacity down the track quite easily. Should William win, he'll no longer have to wait hours for his renders to complete. Last but certainly not least, we have Scott's White Knight, which despite the specs was actually built very recently using hand-me-down parts from his friends. Now this is kind of nice. In Scott's words, he had this to say: "Inspired by the content found on Hardware Unboxed, I thought I would give it a go myself, despite all my friends offering to build it for me. It was probably the single most nerve-wracking experience I've ever gone through. However, I was exhilarated by the prospect that it would be something many people have never done that I constructed all by myself." Overall, he's been quite happy with the system, using it mainly to play CSGO. The only issue being that he would love to play PUBG, and sadly it just doesn't run very well on the current CPU and GPU combo. I know that game in particular hates 1GB graphics cards. Even with the low quality settings, the Radeon HD 7790 is probably the biggest issue here. That said, I can't leave a man behind, no less in a slow-moving bulldozer, so the FX CPU has to go as well. Upgrading the CPU and GPU on this budget, our $500 US budget, is going to be very tight, especially once converted into pounds. Still, this does allow us to pick up a Ryzen 5 1400 and MSI B350M Gaming Pro, 8GB of DDR4 memory, and a GeForce GTX 1050 2GB graphics card. That will completely eat up our budget, every last dollar or pound, but it certainly will be enough for Scott to enjoy PUBG at 1080p. Alright guys, there's 5 completely randomly selected PCs that need various upgrades. It's now your job to let me know which one you think is the most deserving of receiving the proposed upgrade package. To cast your vote, please follow the link in the video description. That will head you over to the TechSpot forums. By signing up for the forums, commenting and voting, also don't forget to comment and like on the video as well, you'll go in the running to win some cool prizes. And those are global giveaways, and we're doing them every single week. Speaking of which, last week's winner was Jin the Hero. Congratulations, mate, you have an awesome Ryzen 5 1400 processor coming your way. Big thank you to AMD for providing that amazing prize. And remember, vote, comment each week. Don't forget about the video. We have more awesome prizes coming. Finally, voting will be open till Friday night in the US, and that's Saturday Arvo here in Australia. And then I'll announce the winner of this episode at the start of next week's episode. And then we'll have another 5 PCs to check out. Not sure what the theme will be there, whether it'll be 5 more random PCs, but we'll find out next week. I'm your host, Steve. Go get voting, guys.